This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The time is 1:15. Here's the news edited by Ramesh Peris. Read by Victor Raj. Here are the headlines of the local news. The construction of the Eastern Container Terminal at the Colombo Port inaugurated. A special COVID-19 vaccination week is underway. The CEB says no interruption to electricity supply today. 623 new coronavirus patients identified on Tuesday. The Department of Official Languages launches an official website. The Hungarian foreign minister arrives in the island. Sri Lanka soon to have improved access to employment in the UK's healthcare sector. International news. The WHO warns half of the Europe's population may soon get Omicron. Sports news, tennis. Tennis star Novak Djokovic admits making a false declaration prior to entering Australia. Local news in detail. Marking a milestone in Sri Lanka's shipping industry, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa inaugurated the construction of the East Container Terminal of the Port of Colombo earlier today. The ECT, which would have 1,320-meter quay wall and spanning across 75 hectares, will be ready to commence full operations from 4th of July 2024 onwards. A total cost of $520 million is spent on the project by the Sri Lanka Ports Authority and is scheduled to be concluded in 2 phases. Once the ECT becomes fully operational in 2024, the Port of Colombo's capacity will be increased to handle 10.5 million TEUs, used to identify the top 25 ports by total tonnage. Becomes the 13th busiest container port in the world. The Director General of Health Services says a special COVID-19 vaccination week is underway until the 17th of January. Dr. Asela Gunawardena said, instructions have been given to establish 4 additional vaccine centers in all MOH areas. Furthermore, a separate vaccination center is in operation at each provincial teaching and base hospital until 8 p.m. Elaborating further in this regard, Dr. Gunawardena said, mobile vaccination clinics will be provided to residents of housing complexes in Colombo. He added all those who are yet to receive their first, second or booster doses of COVID-19 vaccine can get themselves inoculated during the course of this vaccination week. Meanwhile, Army-manned COVID vaccination centers are in operation across the island today. The epidemiology unit of the Ministry of Health said 66,605 people have received the Pfizer booster dose on Tuesday. The epidemiology unit reported in total 4,449,863 people have been administered the booster dose since October. Separately, a total of 16,020,257 people have received the first dose of COVID-19 vaccine and 13,862,165 have received the second dose. The epidemiology unit of the Ministry of Health says another 623 more persons tested positive for COVID-19. Accordingly, the total number of COVID-19 patients in the country increased to 593,072. Meanwhile, another 134 COVID-19 patients recovered and discharged from hospitals. Accordingly, the total number of COVID recoveries in the country increased to 567,360. It is reported that a number of 10,563 patients are currently being treated at hospitals for COVID-19. Another 15 COVID-19 related deaths on Monday have been confirmed by the Director General of Health Services. Accordingly, the total number of COVID deaths in the country increased to 15,149. The Councillor and Head of Development Cooperation at the Canadian High Commission to Sri Lanka, Daniel Jolie, said the Government of Canada has been instrumental in aiding to promote the use of languages in Lanka since 2011. He made this comment at the opening ceremony to launch the official website of the Department of Official Languages, olc.gov.lk, with the participation of Chief Guest Minister of Public Services, Provincial Councils and Local Government, Janaka Bandara Tennakon. Moreover, the chairman of the Official Languages Commission, D. Kalansurya, said that Sri Lankans should be conversant with other languages to take the country into the future as well as to promote national cohesion. He elaborated that the government has spent an immense amount of funds to inform and educate the public to bring discourse into reality. The Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Zijaratu arrived in Sri Lanka this morning on an official visit. He was accorded a warm welcome by the Regional Cooperation State Minister Taraka Balasurya at the Bandaranaike International Airport in Katunayake. The Hungarian Foreign Minister and the delegation, which also includes entrepreneurs, are scheduled to call on President Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa later today. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
People's Bank Isuru Udana gift certificates, a valuable gift for any child.
Continuing with more local news, Sri Lankans will soon have improved access to emerging employment opportunities in the health sector of the United Kingdom, with the government looking to ink a MOU in that regard. Cabinet approval was given this week to the combined proposal presented by the Minister of Labour, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Minister of Health to enter into a memorandum of understanding between Sri Lanka and the UK. Accordingly, Sri Lanka will sign in a MOU with the government of Great Britain and Northern Ireland of the United Kingdom and Healthcare Cooperation. Party leaders have agreed to debate President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's throne speech, which will be delivered next week. The President will deliver this speech when Parliament convenes on 18th January. United National Party leader Ranil Wickremesinghe had requested for an adjournment debate following President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's address to Parliament on 18th January. The former Prime Minister had made the request to Speaker Mahinda Abeyewardene and Leader of the House, Minister Dinesh Gunawardena. A decision has been made by the government to supply local carbonic manure to the farmers for the Yala season 2022 through local producers. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal tabled by the Minister of Agriculture to commence procuring carbonic fertilizer and supply to the farmers for the Yala season 2022, considering the recommendations on the eco-friendly fertilizer prepared for local cultivation by the Director General of Agriculture. The eco-friendly local fertilizer supplied by the local producers for the Yala season 2022 to be procured according to the prescribed standard, utilizing the allocated grants for fertilizer subsidies plan for 2022 by the two state-owned fertilizer producing entities. The Director of the Northern Province Department of Industry, Vanaja Selvaratnam, says the trade fair sponsored by the State Ministry of Batik, Handloom, Fabric and Local Apparel Products is being held for the second day today. She said the trade fair is held at the Veerasingham Hall in Jaffna until 5 p.m. and there are 52 stalls showcasing fabrics and products of SMEs in the Northern Province. The trade fair was inaugurated by the Secretary to the State Ministry, BLAJ Dharmakirti, and the Chief Secretary of the Northern Provincial Council, Saman Bandulasena, yesterday. The trade fair, which is organized in accordance with the health regulations, is visited by fabric industrialists as well as the public. That ends local news.
Your sister got him the most valuable gift of all.
My family will do anything for our child's future.
People's Bank Isuru Udana gift certificates, a valuable gift for any child.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Ceylon Electricity Board announced that the electricity supply will not be disrupted today. Earlier today, the CEB stated that 1-hour power cuts would be enforced between 5:30 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. in several parts of the island today as per the manual load-shedding schedule. However, Additional Secretary Sugat Dharmakirti of the CEB said the privately owned generator near the Kalanithis power plant was repaired after the sudden breakdown. On Monday, the CEB published a manual load-shedding schedule which includes the times and areas where there could be possible power cuts in the future. That ends main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, the Public Health Inspectors Union warned that political rallies, protests and unnecessary gatherings could result in spike in COVID cases in near future and requested people not to participate in such gatherings. Meanwhile, the Deputy Director General of Health Services, Dr. Hemant Herath, urged the general public to strictly adhere to health guidelines and take the booster dose as early as possible to avert any possible COVID waves. That ends Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
World News headlines first. The WHO warns half of Europeans' population may soon get Omicron. The US President pushes overhaul of US election laws in a fiery speech. The Taliban expands Food for Work program in Afghanistan. Foreign news in detail. The World Health Organization has warned that more than half of the population in Europe, Russia and Central Asia could be infected with the Omicron variant of the coronavirus in the next 6 to 8 weeks. The regional director for Europe, Hans Klug, told the news conference on Tuesday that the highly transmissible Omicron is becoming the dominant variant in Western Europe and is spreading to the Balkans. But Klug said vaccines can prevent infected people from becoming seriously ill and cut risks of death. The WHO Office for Europe covers 53 countries. US President Joe Biden has called for a historic change to Senate rules as he seeks to overhaul the country's election laws. In an impassioned speech, he said he supported changes that would allow his voting reforms to be passed without the support of opposition Republicans. Currently, a majority of 60% is needed to pass most legislations in the Senate. And with this upper chamber of Congress split 50-50 between the two parties, Mr. Biden's sweeping election bills are almost certain not to pass unless there is a change to that rule. The Taliban has said it is expanding its Food for Work program, in which donated wheat is used to pay tens of thousands people and workers. It comes as the United Nations has appealed for $4.4 billion in humanitarian aid for Afghanistan. The UN says the funds are needed this year as more than half the country's population is in need. The Taliban's latest announcement underlined the financial crisis engulfing the country. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. The WHO warns half of Europe's population may soon get Omicron. The US President pushes overhaul of US election laws in a fiery speech. The Taliban expands Food for Work program in Afghanistan. That ends World News.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take all out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
The Cabinet has approved the proposal presented by the Prime Minister in his capacity as the Minister of Urban Development to implement a housing program called Sonduru Mahal Nivasa in a bid to provide affordable permanent housing to low-middle income families who are in need of house and living in rented houses. The program is to be launched through the National Housing Development Authority. Beneficiaries selected under this program should have an initial payment capacity of 500,000 rupees. The balance value of house will be charged in installments over a period of 1 year. Beneficiaries will also be given the opportunity to obtain a bank loan if required. Accordingly, 72 houses will be constructed on a land at Ranpokunugama owned by the National Housing Development Authority as a pilot project. That ends Development News.
Development News was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
Moving on to sports news, it's tennis. Tennis star Novak Djokovic has admitted making a false declaration on a travel form prior to entering Australia. In a statement posted on Instagram, he said his agent had made a mistake when filling in a section of the form that covered his recent travel history. His entry form stated that he had not travelled in the 14 days before his arrival in Australia on 6 January. But reports suggest that the 34-year-old had travelled to Serbia and then to Spain prior to the trip. Moving on to news on cycling, the sports minister said today a cycle race is to be staged on the Central Expressway this week, before the opening of the Mirigama to Kurunegala stretch of the highway. The race is scheduled to take place on 14th January, a day before the Mirigama to Kurunegala stretch of the highway is scheduled open to public. Over 125 cyclists are expected to take part in the race. That ends sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
China has lifted the ban on the People's Bank in Sri Lanka as the bank paid a Chinese company for a stock of disputed fertilizer. The Economic and the Commercial Office of the Chinese Embassy in Colombo said the ban imposed last October has been lifted. The ban followed a dispute over contaminated fertilizer which Sri Lanka refused to accept from the Chinese company. The Sri Lankan government had refused to pay for fertilizer until a fresh stock was shipped to the country. That ends Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic News, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Clarifying the composition of the official reserve position, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka said its attention has been drawn to several misleading and erroneous interpretations regarding the change in the composition of the CBS's international reserve position as at end December 2021. The central bank has liquidated a part of its gold holdings in December 2021 to boost liquid foreign assets in line with a drop in annual foreign reserves holdings. The central bank is estimated to have sold about 3.6 tons out of a 6.69 tons stockpile of gold it had at the beginning of 2021, leaving it with around 3.0 to 3.1 tons of gold. That ends Economic News.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The Weather Report.
The Department of Meteorology forecasts several spells of showers will occur at times in the northern, north-central, eastern and Ubud provinces and in Matala district. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the western, Sabragamu and southern provinces. Fairly heavy showers above 50 mm may occur at some places in the southern province and in the Ratnapura district. Moving into sea areas, several spells of showers will occur in the sea areas off the coast extending from Trincomalee to Hambantota via Batticaloa and Porthuvale. Showers or thunder showers will occur at a few places in the sea areas off the coast extending from Punthalam to Hambantota via Colombo and Galle during the evening or night. Winds will be northwesterly and the wind speed will be 20 to 30 kilometers per hour. That ends Weather Report. To wrap up the afternoon news on Radio Sri Lanka, let's take a look at the headlines once again. The construction of the Eastern Container Terminal at the Colombo Port inaugurated. A special COVID-19 vaccination week is underway. The CEB says no interruption to electricity supply today. 623 new coronavirus patients identified on Tuesday. The Department of Official Languages launches an official website. The Hungarian Foreign Minister arrives in the island. Sri Lanka soon to have improved access to employment in the UK's healthcare sector. International news, the WHO warns half of Europe's population may soon get Omicron. Sports news, tennis star Novak Djokovic admits making a false declaration prior to entering Australia. With that, we wrap up the afternoon news on Radio Sri Lanka.